Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your boy Joe Bar Elazar can do. God adds to the one who encourages, and I can do anything because my Father is with me. AKA Wise Duality, the spark that sets the world on fire. That's who I am. I am the spark that sets fire to your mind, to your soul, so that you can realign your spirit and cleanse your soul. Go on your journey to seek Him. When you seek Him with all your heart, you will find Him. And that journey leads you back to yourself. Where's God? Inside of you. God is in me. God in me. I am, I am. So where are we at? We on the Sirach series. This is number 4. So we're going from verse 31. I'm from chapter 31 to chapter 40 or 41 today. We'll probably go to 41 today. So then tomorrow we'll go from 41 to 51, and that'll close out the book of Sirach, the Good News Translation. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one. I was thinking about Tobit. The only reason why I don't want to do Tobit is because all the names, and I don't feel like uh, uh, what I'm doing right now, figuring out the name, making sure it's pronounced correctly, and because I just know how people are. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he don't know how to say this and this and that and the other. Man, I don't feel like that. You know, I really don't. Even in parts of the Bible where if it's a crazy name or whatever, man, I just this it may have some relevance and it may not. If I see it again, then yeah. But when you get to the books of like in Numbers, where there's a lot of genealogy, even in Genesis, there's a lot of genealogy, and it's just this person begot this person and this person begot man. I skim through it. If there's actual text in there, then I'll read it. The genealogy is just to show the actual lineage, to show the history of how this actually happened, and this can actually be traced back to people through these means. That's what the genealogy is about. So yeah, uh, I just didn't feel like the coming up on the names and the pronunciation. I just know how people are semantics. You know what I'm saying? Take the littlest, tiniest things and nitpick it and pull it apart and all of these. And I just didn't feel like that. And I'm already out here showing my weaknesses and things like that. I'm not saying reading is a weakness of mine. It's not. Reading out loud is. I don't. I've never was the best public speaker, or I hated reading out loud in class. I always did. Uh, but give me a book to read to myself. You know what I'm saying? That's how I prefer it. But to actually read out loud, even though when I'm reading scripture is like life to me, uh, my whole mood changes. Uh, my mind goes into a different state. You know, um, because now it's like I'm digging. I'm searching for something. I want to hear something. I want clarity. I want to. You know what I'm saying? So it gives me some. It just does something to me when I start to read it. I remember one time when I was reading. Um, I had got some scripture. I was locked up, and I had got some stuff that was scriptural, and I was reading it, and I was reading it out loud. And one of the guys, and he's like, man, it's like when you started reading that, everything, you just changed. It sounds like That's what you're supposed to be doing. And, so, yeah, he could see how it transform. It is transformative. Read it for yourself. That's all I can say. If you want to get closer to God, start reading His Word. You want to understand who He is, start reading His Word. You don't want to call Him He. You want to call Him She. You want to call it it. Whatever it is that you searching for outside of yourself, and as far as the higher being, I'm gonna tell you this. I said it already. In that search is going to lead you back to yourself. So let's get started. Sirach, chapter 31, the Good News Translation. Problems caused by money. Worrying about money will make you lose weight and lose sleep. Worrying about business will keep you from sleeping just as surely as a serious illness does. Rich people work hard to make a lot of money. Then they can sit back and live in luxury. Poor people work hard and have nothing to show for it. And when they rest, they are still poor. No one loves money. No one who loves money can be judged innocent. His efforts to get rich have led him into sin. Many people have been ruined because of money, brought face to face with disaster. Money is a trap for those who are fascinated by it, a trap that every fool falls into. A person who gets rich without sinfully chasing after money is fortunate. Do you know anyone like that? If so, we will congratulate him for performing a miracle that no one else has ever been able to do. I said this earlier. If anyone has ever passed this test, he can well be proud. Has anyone ever known that he could get away with cheating someone and not taking advantage of it? Has anyone ever known that he could get away with cheating someone and not taking advantage of it? If so, he deserves his wealth, and everyone will praise him for his generosity. Behavior at dinner parties. Verse 12. When you sit down at a fancy banquet, don't let your mouth hang open and don't say, "Look at all that food." It is impolite to have a greedy eye. Remember that. Nothing in creation is greedier than the eye. That is why it sheds tears so often. Don't reach out for everything you see, and don't elbow people out of the way to get at the food. Be considerate of the other people at the table and treat them the way you want to be treated. When you get your food, eat like a human being. Don't smack and slurp. Nobody can stand that. It's good manners to be the first to stop eating. Stuffing yourself is offensive. If there are many people present, don't try to be the first to be served. A little bit is plenty for everyone with good manners. Besides, you won't be short of breath when you go to bed. People who eat too much get stomach aches and cannot sleep. If you don't overeat, you can get a good night's sleep and wake up early the next morning feeling fine. But if you do get a stomach ache from eating too much, go off and vomit, and you will feel better. My child, if you listen to what I am saying and put it into practice, one of these days you will thank me for it. Be moderate in everything you do, and you will never get sick. Be moderate in everything you do, and you will never get sick. People appreciate a generous host, and he deserves their praise. But everybody in town will complain about a host who is stingy with food, and their complaints are justified. Don't try to prove your manhood by how much you can drink. Wine has been the ruin of many. An arrogant person's character shows through when he is in a drunken argument. In the same way that iron is tested when it is heated red hot and then dipped in water. Wine can put new life into you if you drink it in moderation. Check that out. What would life be like without it? Wine was created to make us happy. If you drink it in moderation and at the right time, it can lift your spirits and make you cheerful. But if you drink when you are angry and upset, it leads to headaches, embarrassment, and disgrace. A drunken fool can lose his temper and hurt himself. His drinking makes him weak and an easy target for angry blows. Never rebuke a person when you have both been drinking. Don't hurt his feelings while he is having a good time. It's not the time to criticize anyone or to ask him to pay back a debt. I did a word of the day on drinking and sobriety and all of that, and I was saying how alcohol is not the root cause. It's a contributor, but it's not the root cause. The root cause is what's going on in your heart and in your mind. Footnotes. And what I mean by the root cause is when if you drink and you have problems and you create problems, or you find yourself in situations that you wouldn't be in if you were sober. If you drink and you are a different person, it's not the alcohol. Footnotes. Sirach 3:2. Hebrew, worrying about business. Greek, sleepless worry. Verse 5. Hebrew have sing. Greek, will destroy him. 5. No one who loves money can be judged innocent. His efforts to get rich have led him to sin. His efforts to get rich will destroy him. Verse 13. Hebrew, so often. Greek, on every face. Verse 21. Go off and vomit. Some manuscripts have get up in the middle of the meal. Did not do it in the first place so you don't have to vomit. Moderation. Control, self-control. So, verse 22. Hebrew, moderate. Greek, industrious. 22. What was 22? 22. Oh, okay. Be moderate, my child. If you listen to what I'm saying and put it into practice, one of these days you will thank me for it. Be moderate in everything you do, and you will never get sick. And it says you will be industrious. Hebrew, verse 29. Hebrew, when you are disgraced. Greek, too much. It leads to bitterness, offense, and stumbling. That's the wine. Drinking too much. It leads to bitterness. When you drink too much, it leads to bitterness, offense, and stumbling. Chapter 32. If you are chosen to preside at a banquet, don't put on airs. Just be like everyone else. Look after the guests before you sit down. After you have performed your duties, you can sit down and enjoy yourself with the others. They will respect you for doing a good job. If you are older than most of the guests, you may talk. That is your right. But you should know what you are talking about and not interrupt the music. If entertainment is being provided, don't keep up a steady conversation. It's the wrong time to show off your wits. Music at a banquet where wine is served is like a ruby set in gold. Good music and good wine, an emerald set in gold. If you are young, don't speak unless you have to, but never more than twice, and only if someone speaks to you first. Come to the point and say it all in a few words. Show that you are well informed, but stay quiet. Don't treat important people as if you were their equal, and don't make a nuisance of yourself by asking them a lot of questions. The reputation of a modest person goes before him, as lightning before thunder. Leave the party at the right time and never be the last to go. Don't linger at the door, just go straight home. There, you can enjoy yourself as much as you wish. But don't commit the sin of bragging. And don't forget to thank your Creator for letting you enjoy so many good things. Amen. That's right. Always thanking God. Interpreting the law. Verse 14. If you fear the Lord, you will accept his correction. He will bless those who get up early in the morning to pray. Study his law, and you will master it, unless you are insincere about it, in which case you will fail. If you fear the Lord, you will know what is right, and you will be famous for your fairness. Sinners have no use for correction and will interpret the law to suit themselves. Sensible people will consider every opinion, but arrogant people will let nothing stand in their way. Never do anything without thinking it through. And once you have done something, don't look back and wish you had done something else. Don't take a course of action that is dangerous, and don't make the same mistake twice. Don't be too sure of yourself. Don't be too sure of yourself, even when the way looks easy. Don't be too sure of yourself, even when the way looks easy. Always watch where you are going. Whatever you do, be careful. This is keeping the Lord's commands. Believing in the law means keeping the Lord's commands. If you trust the Lord, you cannot lose. Footnotes. Sirach 32 verse 9. Hebrew, make questions. Greek, keep talking when someone else is speaking. Verse 18. Hebrew, arrogant. Greek, foreign and arrogant. Verse 20. Hebrew, make twice. Greek, stumble on stones. 20. What was that? Don't take a course of action that is dangerous, and don't make the same mistake twice. Don't stumble on stones. Don't sweat the small stuff. Albeit careful not to get tripped up by the small stuff. Verse 22. Hebrew, watch. Going. Greek, look out for your children. Verse 23. Hebrew, be careful. Greek, have confidence in yourself. Whatever you do, be careful. Or whatever you do, have confidence in yourself. Chapter 33. No evil will ever come to a person who fears the Lord. However, often danger comes. The Lord will come to the rescue. However, often danger comes. The Lord will come to the rescue. A person who has no use for the law doesn't have good sense, and anyone who is insincere about it is going to be tossed about like a boat in a storm. If you are wise, you will believe in the law. You will find it as reliable as the sacred lots. Prepare what you are going to say, and people will listen to you. Use what you have learned before you start talking. A foolish person's mind works like a cartwheel, going round and round in circles. A sarcastic friend is like a wild horse that neighs no matter who tries to ride him. People are not alike. Verse 7. Why are some days holier than others, even though the same sun rises on every day of the year? It is because the Lord made them different by setting them apart as religious holidays and festivals. He made some days holy and important and made other days ordinary. I used to always say this, and I still say it, we have a God that commands celebrations, that commands partying, that commands festival, that commands good cheer. We have a God that loves to celebrate and loves to party. When people are in the same mind and in cheer and in good spirits and in good heart, it's like praising God. Because because these things, these festivals and these celebrations that are set apart are people of God. So these people of God are coming together in what? In the same mind, in the same spirit, and you know what I'm saying. So it's a good thing. Celebrating is a good thing. Every human being was made from the earth, just as Adam was. But the Lord, in his wisdom, made them all different and gave them different tasks. He blessed some, making them honored and holy, keeping them near him. Others he cursed, humbling them and removing them from their positions. Just as clay is in the potter's hand for him to shape as he pleases, so we are in the hands of our Creator for him to do with as he wishes. Good is the opposite of evil. Life is the opposite of death. And sin is the opposite of devotion to the Lord. Think about it. The Most High has made everything in pairs, each thing the opposite of something else. That's because God is both. Right? He's love and wrath. He's duality. Can't have one without the other. As for me, I have been the last to come on duty, as if going through vineyards to gather whatever the grape pickers had left behind. But the Lord blessed me, and I did well, like a grape picker who has filled the winepress. But I want you to know that I have not done all this work for myself alone, but for everyone who wants to learn. Listen to me, all you great leaders, all you leaders of the assemblies, hear what I have to say. Be independent. Verse 19. Never, as long as you live, give anyone power over you, whether son, wife, brother, or friend. Don't give your property to anyone. You might change your mind and have to ask for it, and might have to ask for it back. Don't give your property to anyone. You might change your mind and have to ask for it back. As long as you have breath in your body, don't let anyone lead your life for you. It is better that your children be dependent on you than the other way around. Keep control over all that you do. Don't let anything stain your reputation. Wait until the last moment of your life when you are breathing your last, and then divide your property among your heirs. Treatment of slaves. Verse 24. A donkey should be given its fodder and its burden, and it should be beaten. A donkey should be given its fodder, its food, and its burden, its work, and it should be beaten. Wow. A slave should be given food and work and should be disciplined. If you make your slave work, you can set your mind at ease. If you don't keep him busy, he will be looking for freedom. You can use a harness and yoke to tame an animal, and a slave can be tortured in the stocks. Keep him at work and don't let him be idle. Idleness can only teach him how to make trouble. Work is what he needs. If he won't obey you, put him in chains. But don't be too severe with anyone and never be unfair. If you have a slave, treat him as if you would. If you have a slave, treat him as you would want to be treated. You bore him with your hand. You bore him with your hard-earned money. Treat him as a brother. You need him as you need yourself. If you mistreat him and he runs away, where are you going to look for him? Don't be too severe with anyone and never be unfair. If you have a slave, treat him as you would want to be treated. You bore him with your hard-earned money. Treat him as a brother. You need him as you need yourself. If you mistreat him and he runs away, where are you going to look for him? And why? If you mistreat him. Verse 16, footnotes. Sirach 33, verse 16. Did well or overtook the others. 16. Which one was that? As for me, I have been the last to come on duty, as if going through vineyards together, whatever the grape pickers had left behind. But the Lord blessed me, and I did well, like a grape picker who has filled the winepress. And what did it say? I did well. Oh, and I overtook the others. He said he overtook the others. Even though he came last, he came up and surpassed them. That's just one different translation. Sirach, chapter 34. Dreams mean nothing. Foolish people are deceived by vain hopes, and dreams get them all excited. A person who pays any attention at all to dreams is like someone who tries to catch shadows or chase the wind. What you see in a dream is no more than the reflection of your face in a mirror. What is unreal can no more produce something real than what is dirty can produce something clean. Dreams, divination, and omens are all nonsense. You see in them only what you want to see. Unless the Most High has sent you the dream, pay no attention to it. Dreams have misled many people. They put their faith in them only to be disappointed. The law is complete without such falsehood. Wisdom, as spoken by the righteous, is also complete without it. Without falsehood. Travel, verse 9. A well-traveled person with wide experience knows many things and talks sense. You can't know much if you haven't experienced much. But travel can make you more clever. In my own travels, I have seen many things and learned more than I can put into words. I have been in danger of death many times, but I have also been able to escape by relying on past experiences. That's a Jew right there. I have been in danger of death many times, but I have always been able to escape by relying on past experiences. I have always been able to escape by relying on past experiences. Your lessons. That's what the past is. Lessons. You get hit in the head. Guess what? The next time you gonna duck, right? Somebody swing at you, hit you in the head. The next time they swing, you gonna duck. Lesson learned. Fear the Lord. Verse 13. Those who fear the Lord will live, because they have put their trust in the one who can save them. Fear the Lord, and you will have nothing else to fear. If you trust in him, you will never act like a coward. If your trust is in him, you will never act like a coward. People who fear the Lord are fortunate, because they know where they can look for help. The Lord watches over those who love him. He is their strong protection and firm support. He shelters them from the heat, shades them from the noonday sun, and keeps them from stumbling and falling. He makes them cheerful and puts a sparkle in their eyes. He blesses them with life and health. Offering sacrifices, verse 18. If you offer as a sacrifice an animal that you have obtained dishonestly, it is defective and unacceptable. The Most High gets no pleasure from sacrifices made by ungodly people. No amount of sacrifices can make up for their sins. Anyone who steals an animal from the poor to offer as a sacrifice is like someone who kills a boy before his father's eyes. Food means life itself to poor people, and taking it away from them is murder. Food means life itself to poor people, and taking it away from them is murder. It is murder to deprive someone of his living or to cheat an employee of his wages. When one person builds and somebody else tears down, has anything been accomplished but hard work? When one person blesses and somebody else curses, which one is the Lord going to listen to? If you touch a dead body and then purify yourself by washing, but then go and touch it again, what good did the washing do? If you fast because of your sins and then go out and commit the same sins over again, what have you gained by going without food? Who do you think is going to listen to your prayers? Footnote: Sirach 5, verse 5. Probable text: you see to see. Greek: the mind has an imagination like a woman in labor. Sirach verse 9. Sirach 34 verse 9. A well-traveled. Some manuscripts have an educated. What was that? Verse 9. Boom, boom, boom. A well-traveled person with wide experiences knows many things and talks sense. Or an educated person with wide experiences knows many things and talks sense. Chapter 35. Keeping the law is worth many offerings. It is a fellowship offering in itself. Returning a kindness is like a grain offering. Given to the poor is like a thanksgiving offering. Keeping away from sin will please the Lord and make atonement for sin. But don't come to the temple without an offering. The Lord requires that you bring one. When someone righteous offers a sacrifice and the fat drips down on the altar, a pleasant smell rises to the Most High. The Lord will accept the offerings made by righteous people and will not forget them. Praise the Lord by making generous offerings to Him. Don't be stingy with the first of your crops. Be cheerful with every gift you make, and when you pay your tithes, do it gladly. Give to the Most High as He has given to you, just as generously as you can. The Lord always repays and will do it many times over. But don't try to bribe Him or rely on offerings that you have obtained dishonestly. He will not accept them. God's justice. Verse 13. The Lord is fair and does not show partiality. He is not prejudiced. He is not prejudiced against the poor. When someone prays who has been wronged, the Lord listens. When orphans and widows pour out their prayers, He does not ignore them. The tears running down a widow's cheek cry out an accusation against the one who has caused her distress. Serve the Lord willingly, and the Lord will accept you. Your prayers will reach the skies. The prayer of a humble person goes past the clouds and keeps on going until it reaches the Lord Most High, where it stays until He answers by seeing that justice is done and that the guilty have been punished. The prayer of a humble person goes past the clouds and keeps on going until it reaches the Lord Most High, where it stays until He answers by seeing that justice is done and that the guilty are punished. And the Lord will act quickly. He will show no patience with wicked people. He will take vengeance by crushing the heathen. He will completely wipe out the merciless and the arrogant, and will destroy the authority of the wicked. He will give each of us what our thoughts and actions deserve. Because of the Lord's mercy, His people will be happy when he has judged their case. In times of trouble, his mercy is a welcome. In times of trouble, his mercy is as welcome as rain after a long drought. Footnote, Sirach 35, verse 12, Hebrew, fair, Greek, judge. The Lord is fair and does not show partiality. The Lord is judge and does not show partiality. One true judge, right? Chapter 36, going fast today. A prayer for Israel. O Lord God of the universe, look upon us and have mercy. Make every nation stand in fear of you. Take action against the foreign nations and let them witness your power. You have used us to show them how holy you are. Now use them to show us how great you are. Right. And that's what's going to happen at this whole Palestinian and Israeli war and Russia and China and United States. All of this is coming to a head just so we can see how great God is. Let them learn, as we have learned, that there is no God, O Lord, but you. Give new signs, perform new miracles, show us your glorious strength. Bring on that appointed time when everyone can talk about the great things you do. Pour out your furious flame and anger, and let none of our enemies survive. Destroy those who have oppressed your people. Destroy those who have oppressed your people. Crush all those enemy rulers who think they are the only people in the world who matter. The United States. Crush all those enemy rulers who think they are the only people in the world who matter. Gather the tribes of Israel together again and give them back their land as you gave it to them long ago. Lord, have mercy on Israel, the people who are known by your name, whom you called your firstborn son. Take pity on Jerusalem, your holy city, where you chose to stay. Fill your temple on Mount Zion with your glory and with hymns of praise. Testify for your people, whom you created in the beginning. Fulfill the prophecies that have been spoken in your name. Reward those who have put their faith in you and vindicate your prophets. You have always been gracious to your people. Listen to your servants as we pray. Then everyone on earth will recognize that you are the Lord, the God of the ages. Choosing a wife, verse 18. Any kind of food can be eaten, but some foods are better than others. And just as the tongue can distinguish the flavors of different kinds of meat, so a sharp mind can detect lies. A person with a warped mind causes trouble, but an experienced person knows how to pay it back. A woman has to take any man as a husband, but a man must choose his wife carefully. A woman's beauty makes a man happy. There is no fairer sight for the human eye to see. If the woman is kind and gentle in her speech, her husband is the most fortunate of men. When a man marries, he gets the finest thing he will ever have, a wife to help and encourage him. If property is not fenced in, thieves will wander in and help themselves. And if a man has no wife, he is a sighing wanderer. People have no more trust in a homeless person who sleeps in a different place every night than they have in a wandering thief who goes from town to town. Stability. That's what it sounds like to me. Every man needs stability. You can't keep uprooting, going from place to place to place. Somewhere you need to make a stand, make your mark Settle down. Plant your roots close to water. Footnotes. Sirach 36:14. Hebrew temple, Greek people. Verse 17. Hebrew, you have people. Greek, according to the blessings of Aaron on your people. Give us back our land, Lord. It's time for you to show up for us. And he will. When the people come together. Calling out for him. In unison. And I'm sure it's happening because there's a lot of pain going on in the world. And he will hear. And he will respond. False friends. Chapter 37. Anyone can claim to be your friend, but some people are friends in name only. The grief caused when a close friend turns sour is as bad as death. This evil impulse we have, why was it ever formed? How did it manage to cover the earth with deceit? Some people will be your friend as long as things are going well, but they will turn against you when trouble comes. A real friend will help you against your enemies and protect you in the fight. Never forget such companions in battle. Share the results of your victory with them. Caution in taking advice. Verse 7. Anyone can give advice, but some people do so only in their own interest. Be careful when somebody offers you advice. Find out first what his interest is in the matter, because you can be sure that he is thinking primarily of himself. Why should he come out on top instead of you? He will assure you that things look good and then stand back to watch what happens to you. Don't ask advice of anyone who doesn't trust you, and don't give advice to anyone who is jealous of you. Don't ask a woman for advice about a rival of hers, a coward about war, a merchant about bargain, a buyer about selling, a stingy person about gratitude, a cruel person about kindness, a lazy person about work, a casual worker about finishing a job, a lazy slave about a difficult task. Pay no attention to any advice they may give. These are people you should not take advice from. Don't ask a woman for advice about a rival of hers, a coward about war, a merchant about a bargain, a buyer about selling, a stingy person about gratitude, a cruel person about kindness, a lazy person about work, a casual worker about finishing a job, a lazy slave about a difficult task. Pay no attention to any advice they may give. Instead, rely on someone who is religious and known to keep the Lord's commands, someone who is sympathetic with you, who will be sorry to see you fail, and trust your own judgment. No one's advice is more reliable than your own judgment, your own intuition, your own conscience. Trust it. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. One thing is consistent in the scriptures is about believing in yourself. Confidence. Courage. In yourself. Wisdom and confidence. I can't make it up. Wisdom and confidence. Verse 16. Planning and thought lie behind everything that is done. The mind concerns itself with four things. These are good and evil, life and death. They all begin in the mind, but the tongue is their absolute ruler. Someone may have the ability to teach, but still not be of much use to himself. He may be clever with words, but end up starving because people hate him. This may happen if he doesn't have good sense, if the Lord has not given him tact. Someone may consider himself wise and let you know that he is certain about what he knows. Anyone who really is wise will be the teacher of his people, and they can be certain that what he teaches is the truth. Everyone will praise such a person and speak of him as fortunate. A person's life has only a limited number of days, but the life of Israel cannot be measured in days at all. The wise will win the confidence of others and will be remembered forever. Controlling the appetite, verse 27. My child, as you go through life, keep your appetite under control and don't eat anything that you know is bad for you. All food doesn't agree with everyone, and everyone doesn't like the same kind of foods. Don't feel that you just have to have all sorts of fancy food, and don't be a glutton over any food. If you eat too much, you'll get sick. If you do it all the time, you'll always have stomach trouble. Gluttony has been the death of many people. Avoid it and live longer. Life lessons. Life lessons. The Bible, all the lessons, everything is in here. It's in here. You got problems with your stomach, you got digestive problems, stop eating so much. You got nausea and stuff like, drink a little bit of wine to settle your stomach. A little bit. Don't make it a habit. Don't overdo it. Everything, it says everything is in everything in moderation can be good. Moderation is a good thing. Footnotes, Sirach 37, verse 5, Hebrew, real, Greek, does not have this word. Verse 5, what is that? Boom, 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 boom. A real friend, a friend, will help you against your enemies and protect you in the fight. And in those days, it wasn't about being real, right? It's just a friend or not a friend. Not a real friend. It's a friend or not a friend. Or an enemy. A friend or an enemy. Is cut and clear. Those extra things, a real friend. Like, if you have a friend, is a friend. Sirach 37:5, verse 37:5 footnote. Hebrew, against your enemies. Greek, hoping to get a meal. Verse 6, Hebrew, in battle. Greek, in your soul. Verse 8, Hebrew, why, you, Greek, he may use his influence against you. What was that? 8. Be careful when somebody offers you advice. Find out first what his interest in the matter is, because you can be sure that he is thinking primarily of himself. Why should he come out on top of you? And why should he come out on top instead of you? That's what that says. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Oh. He may use his influence against you. That's what that is. He may use his influence against you. Verse 17. Hebrew, the mind. The mind. Greek. There are 4 things that show the changes of the heart. Good and evil, life and death. I get it. 4 things that show the changes of the heart. When you're thinking in your mind good and evil, and when you're thinking of life and death, expressed from the heart and the mind. That what you're thinking is more than likely what you want to do. Where does it start? In the heart. I always said, right? You want to change your mind, you got to heal your heart. You heal your heart, then you can change your mind. Chapter 38, Sickness and Medicine. 38. Give doctors the honor they deserve, for the Lord gave them their work to do. Their skill came from the Most High, and kings reward them for it. Their knowledge gives them a position of importance, and powerful people hold them in high regard. The Lord created medicines from the earth, and a sensible person will not hesitate to use them. Didn't a tree once make bitter water fit to drink, so that the Lord's power might be known? He gave medical knowledge to human beings so that we could praise him for the miracles he performs. The druggist mixes these medicine, and the doctor will use them to cure diseases and ease pain. There is no end to the activities of the Lord, who gives health to the people of the world. My child, when you get sick, don't ignore it. Pray to the Lord, and he will make you well. Confess all your sins and determine that in the future you will live a righteous life. Offer incense and a grain offering, as fine as you can afford. Then call the doctor, for the Lord created him, and keep him at your side. You need him. There are times when you have to depend on his skill. The doctor's prayer is that the Lord will make him able to ease his patient's pain and make them well again. As for the person who sins against his creator, he deserves to be sick. Wow. The doctors, right? So these doctors that's doctoring for money, wrong intentions. But the Lord says they are useful. Well, can you imagine the doctors that stray away from God or don't believe in God? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them get educated and they think their education, you know what I'm saying? So they throw God out the window. But they think that they created these things like they're really something. Doctors are overpaid, overesteemed. And that's why we have this problem with not having universal health care in this country. Because they're not doing it for the good of the people. They're not doing the work of God. Some are. I'm sure they are. But the majority mindset, it's not about curing people anymore. It's all about money. It's all about the bottom line, profit. The whole healthcare industry is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Insurance, doctors' expenses, the bills and all of these. Man, it's ridiculous. You can't even afford to get sick these days. You know what I'm saying? You working your butt off just if you get sick, and then these people want to take advantage of you and take half of what you earned just to give you a diagnosis. We ain't even talking about curing you or treatment. And they ain't even trying to cure you these days. Ain't no cure, no money in the cure, so all they want to do is treat you so you can keep paying and paying and paying. Mourning for the dead. Verse 16. My child, when someone dies, you should mourn. Weep and wail to show how deeply you feel the loss. Prepare the body in a proper way and be present at the burial. Weep bitterly and passionately. Observe the proper period of mourning for the person. Mourn for a whole day or maybe two to keep people from talking, but then pull yourself together and reconcile yourself to the loss. Grief can undermine your health and even lead to your own death. Grief lingers on after death of a loved one, but it is not wise to let it lead you into poverty. How many people y'all know that grieve and be stuck there for years and years to come grieving? It says you grieve for a time and you let it go and you move forward. You still got life to live. You still have work to do. You can't change that. And if you are a true child of God, you know that they're not going. They're right there with you in spirit. They're closer to you now than they ever been. Don't lose yourself in sorrow. Drive it away. Remember that we must all die sometime. There's no way to bring the dead person back. All your sorrows does him no good. And it hurts you. Don't forget that. You will die, just as he did. Today it was him. Today it was his turn. Tomorrow will be yours. Today it was his turn. Tomorrow will be yours. When the dead have been laid to rest, let the memory of them fade. Once they are gone, take courage. Scholarship and other occupations. Scholars must have time to study if they are going to be wise. They must be relieved of other responsibilities. How can a farm hand gain knowledge when his only ambition is to drive the oxen and make them work, when all he knows to talk about is livestock? He takes great pains to plow a straight furrow and will work far into the night to feed the animals. It is the same with artists and the craftsmen who work night and day engraving precious stones, carefully working out new designs. They take great pains to produce a life-like image and will work far into the night to finish the work. It is the same with the blacksmith at his anvil, planning what he will make from a piece of iron. The heat from the fire sears his skin as he sweats away at the forge. The clanging of the hammer deafens him. The clanging of the hammer deafens him as he carefully watches the object he is working take shape. He takes great pains to complete his task and will work far into the night to bring it to perfection. It is the same with the potter sitting at his wheel and turning it with his feet, always concentrating on his work, concerned with how many objects he can produce. He works the clay into his feet. He works the clay with his feet until he can shape it with his hands. Then he takes great pains to glaze it properly and will work far into the night to clean out the kiln. All of these people are skilled with their hands, each of them an expert at his own craft. Without such people, there could be no cities. No one could live or visit where these services were not available. These people are not sought out to serve on the public councils, and they never attain positions of great importance. They do not serve as judges, and they do not understand legal matters. They have no education and are not known for their wisdom. You never hear them quoting proverbs, but the work they do holds this world together. When they do their work, it is the same as offering prayer. Now, that's deep. When you're doing what you love, when you're doing what you feel is your purpose, you are offering prayer. You are doing a good thing. Let your works consume you. Not a job, but your works. Your creativity. Put just as much time into what you want to build and what you want to create and your ideas and your artistry, what you create with your hands, is more important than going to that job. Footnotes. Sirach 38 verse 1. Hebrew gave them their work to do. Greek created them. Verse 5. The Lord's power or its healing properties. Verse 11. Hebrew, as fine as you can afford. Greek, unclear. As fine as you can afford. What was that? 11. Excuse me. Oh, okay. Offer the incense of grain as fine as you can afford. Verse 20, drive it away or put the memory of that person aside. Verse 28, probable text, deafens him. Greek, renews his ears. Renews his ears. Deafens him and renews his ears. Seems like a contradictory, right? But I don't think it is. From what I'm understanding, from what I have been pondering since I read it, it deafens him. It deafens him. It may damage his ear, but it also is the same thing that heals his ear or keeps him hearing. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy, right? But it's the same thing that keeps him hearing. It's just how I'm understanding it. How I understand how it's not a contradictory. Chapter 39. But it is different with the person who devotes himself to studying the law of the Most High. He examines the wisdom of all the ancient writers and concerns himself with the prophecies. He memorizes the sayings of famous men and is a skilled interpreter of parables. He studies the hidden meaning of proverbs. He studies the hidden meaning of proverbs and is able to discuss the obscure points of parables. Great people call on him for his services, and he is seen in the company of rulers. He travels to foreign lands in his efforts to learn about human good and evil. It is his practice to get up early and pray aloud to the Lord his Creator, asking the Most High to forgive his sins. If the great Lord is willing, he will be filled with understanding. He will pour out a stream of wise sayings and give thanks to the Lord in prayer. He will have knowledge to share and good advice to give, as well as insight into the Lord's secrets. He will demonstrate his learning in what he teaches, and his pride will be in the Lord's law and covenant. He will be widely praised for his wisdom, and it will never be lost because people for generations to come will remember him. The Gentiles will talk about his wisdom, and he will be praised aloud in the assembly. If he lives to old age, he will die famous. But if he is laid to rest before he is famous, he will be content. A hymn in praise of God, verse 12. Like the moon, I am full of more ideas to be discussed. Listen to me, you devout children of mine, and blossom like a rose bush on a stream bank. Bloom like a sweet-smelling lily, and sing your fragrance into the air like incense. Sing the Lord's praises and thank him for all that he has done. Proclaim his glory in grateful praise. To the music of the harp, sing this song. All that the Lord has done is very good. All that he commands is sooner or later done. No one should ask why things are as they are. These questions will be answered at the right time. He commanded, and the water piled up high. Great walls of water arose when he spoke. Whatever he commands is promptly done. There are no limits to his power to save. He sees all that every human being does. There is no way to hide from his sight. He sees the whole He sees the whole of time from the beginning to end, and nothing takes him by surprise. No one should ask why things are as they are. Everything in creation has its purpose. His blessings overflow like the Nile, enriching the world in a fertile flood. No one should ask why things as they are. Everything in creation has its purpose. His blessings overflow like the Nile, enriching the whole world in a fertile flood. He turns fresh water into salt water, and he turns his anger on the nations. For the devout, his ways are straight. For the wicked, they are laid with traps. From the beginning, he has made good things for the good and terrible things for sinners. The basic needs of life are these: water, fire, iron, and salt, flour, honey, milk, wine, clothing, and oil. All these things are good for those who are devout, but they turn into evils for sinners. There are winds that were created to bring punishment, fierce enough to move mountains. In times of judgment, they unleash their strength and calm the anger of their maker. Vicious animals, scorpions, and snakes, the sword that destroys the wicked, fire, hell, famine, disease. Have all been created as punishments. They are all glad to obey the Lord's command and are ready to serve him here on earth. When their times of duty come, they never disobey. It was long convinced of this. I was long convinced of this. So after thinking it over, I put it in writing. Everything made by the Lord is good. He meets every need at the proper time. No one can claim that some things are worse than others, for everything is good in its proper place. Now then, sing praises with all your heart, and praise the name of the Lord. Footnotes. Sirach 39, verse 8. His learning teaches, or the wisdom of what he has been taught. Verse 11, if he is content, Greek, unclear. Verse 20, takes him by surprise, or is too marvelous for him. Verse 20, what was that? He sees the whole of time from beginning to end, and nothing takes him by surprise, or nothing is too marvelous for him. Verse 22, Hebrew, overflow, flood, Greek. Cover the dry land like a river and drench it like a flood. Verse 29, Hebrew, moves mountains, Greek. Lash heavily. Verse 32, put or left. I was long convinced of this, so after thinking it over, I put it in writing, or left it in writing. Left it in writing. I hear that. He put it in writing. He wrote down the things that he experienced and come to understand and know of God. Chapter 40. Spin Sirach, or Sirach. Chapter 40, Good News Translation. The misery of human life. Every person has been given a great deal of work to do. A heavy burden lies on all of us from the day of our birth until the day we go back to the earth, the mother of us all. We are confused and fearful, dreading the day of our death. All of us, from the king on his splendid throne wearing royal robes and a crown, to the humblest person dressed in burlap and living in poverty. All through our lives, we meet anger, jealousy, and trouble. Things disturb us. We live with furious conflicts and with the fear of death. Even when we go to bed, we think of new troubles in our sleep. We get little rest, if any at all. When we sleep, it is as if we were awake, disturbed by our imaginations, If we dream that we are running from an enemy just as we are about to be caught, we wake up and are relieved to find there is nothing to be afraid of. Here is what all creatures, both human and animals, must face. But it is 7 times worse for sinners: death, violence, conflict, murder, disaster, famine, sickness, epidemic. All these things were created because of the wicked. They are the ones who have caused destruction. Everything that comes from the earth goes back to the earth, just as all water flows into the sea. The results of evil. Nothing nothing comes from bribery or injustice. Nothing comes from bribery or injustice will last, but the efforts of loyalty will remain forever. Wealth that has been obtained dishonestly is like a stream that runs full during a thunderstorm, tumbling rocks along as it flows, but then suddenly goes dry. The children of ungodly people will not leave large families. They are like plants trying to take root on rock, like reeds along a riverbank withering before any other plant. Acts of kindness and charity are as lasting as eternity. Acts of kindness and charity are as lasting as eternity. The joys of human life. Verse 18. Being independently wealthy or working for a living, both can make life pleasant, but it is better to find a treasure, your work. Your name can be preserved if you have children. If you can establish a city by finding wisdom is a better way. Your name can be preserved if you have children, or if you establish a city, but finding wisdom is a better way. Owning livestock and orchids will make you famous, but it is better to have a wife you love. Wine and music can make you happy, but a happy marriage is even better. Flutes and harps make fine music, but a pleasant voice is better than either. Gracefulness and beauty please the eye, but not as much as new growth in the spring. You can't go wrong with a good friend or neighbor, but an intelligent wife is better than either. Relatives and helpers are good to have in times of trouble, but it will be an even greater help if you have made a practice of giving to the poor. Relatives and helpers are good to have in times of trouble, but it will be even greater help if you have made a practice of giving to the poor. But it will be an even greater help if you have made a practice of giving to the poor. Gold and silver provide security, but good advice is better. Wealth and strength give confidence, but the fear of the Lord can give you even greater confidence. When you fear the Lord, you need nothing more. It is all the support you need. The fear of the Lord is like a rich garden of blessings. You could not want a more glorious shelter. Begging. Verse 28, my child, don't live the life of a beggar. It is better to die than to beg. If you have to depend on someone else for your food, you are not living your own life. You pollute yourself by accepting food from another. Begging is torture to the soul of any sensitive person. Begging is torture to the soul of any sensitive person. A shameless person can make begging sound sweet, but something inside him burns. Footnotes. Sirach 40, verse 7. Probable text caught, Greek rescued. Verse 10. Hebrew have caused destruction, Greek caused the flood. Verse 14, verses 13 to 14 are translated from Hebrew. Verse 14 in Greek is unclear. Verse 16, Hebrew withering, Greek pulled up. Verse 17, Hebrew acts, eternity, Greek kindness is a blessed garden, and charity lasts forever. Verse 19, Hebrew, but finding wisdom, famous, Greek, does not have these words. Sirach 40:19, Hebrew, wife you love, Greek, blameless wife. Verse 20, Hebrew, a happy marriage, Greek, the love of wisdom. Verse 23, Hebrew, an intelligent wife is, Greek, a wife and a husband are. 23. You can't go wrong with a good friend or a neighbor, but an intelligent wife is better than either. But a husband and wife are better. A husband and wife are better. You can't go wrong with a good friend or neighbor, but a husband and wife is better. Better than either. But a husband and wife are better. Verse 29, Hebrew, begging person, Greek, an intelligent and understanding person will avoid it. Understanding an intelligent person would avoid begging. 29. If you have to depend on someone else for your food, you are not really living your own life. You pollute yourself by accepting food from another. Begging is torture to the soul of any sensitive person. Begging is torture to an intelligent and understanding person will avoid it. You won't beg. Chapter 41. Sirach 41, Good News Translation. The last chapter of the day. Death. Death. The very thought of it is bitter to someone who is prosperous, living peacefully with his possessions, free of worries, and still able to enjoy his food. Death, its sentence is welcome to someone living in poverty, with failing health, very old, burdened with worries, blind, and without hope. Do not be afraid of death's decree. Remember that it came to those before you and will come to those after you. The Lord has decreed it for every living creature. Who are you to object what the Most High wishes? In the world of the dead, no one will care whether you live 10 years, 100, or 1,000. The fate of the wicked, the children of sinners, brought up in ungodly surroundings, turn out to be hateful people. They will lose whatever they inherit, and their own dependents will live in permanent disgrace. The children will put the blame for this disgrace on their ungodly parents. You are doomed, you irreligious people who have abandoned the law of the Most High God. When you have children, disaster will strike them, and you will be left with nothing but sorrow. There will be a great joy whenever you stumble, and even after your death, you will be cursed. What comes into being from nothing will return to nothing. So it will be with the godless, doomed to extinction. What comes into being from nothing will return to nothing. So it will be with the godless, doomed to extinction. That reminds me, I was watching something on, I think it was Instagram. It might have been YouTube. And, it was a guy, an atheist talking about, or somebody disputing atheism. It was like a debate or something. And he was saying, people that say there is no God. So basically, you're saying there's nothing. So if if you're saying that you believe that there is nothing, you believe that that there is no God, so there is nothing. So when you die, you return back to nothing. So you know how can nothing? If nothing is nothing, how do you return back to nothing? You understand what I'm saying? If nothing is nothing, how do you return back to nothing? So there is no nothing. There is something. You understand what I'm saying? It just made sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you. I hope it does. I mean, if there is nothing, how can you say there's nothing? If nothing is nothing, how can you say there's nothing? And how do you return back to nothing? That was for atheists. A sense of decency. My children, do as I teach you and live at peace. Wisdom that is not expressed is like a treasure that has been hidden. Both are useless. A person who covers up his foolishness is better than one who keeps his wisdom to himself. My children, listen, and I will teach you the circumstances when it is proper to be ashamed. Sometimes it is entirely out of place. Before your parents, be ashamed of immoral behavior. Before a ruler or an important person, be ashamed of a lie. Before a judge, be ashamed of criminal behavior. Before a public assembly, be ashamed of breaking the law. Before a friend or partner, be ashamed of dishonesty. Before a friend or partner, be ashamed of dishonesty. Before your neighbors, be ashamed of theft. Be ashamed of breaking a promise, of leaning on the dinner table with your elbows, of stinginess when you are asked for something, of not returning a greeting, of staring at a prostitute, of turning down a relative's request, of depriving someone of what is rightfully theirs, of staring at another man's wife, of playing around with his slave woman, keep away from her bed, of insulting your friends, of following up your gifts with criticism, of betraying secrets. Those are the proper times that you should be ashamed. Footnotes. Well, I'm sure there's more, but he just names a few that are common to people, that are common to us. Should I read them again? A sense of decency. Excuse me. My children, do as I teach you and live at peace. Wisdom that is not expressed is like a treasure that has been hidden. Both are useless. We talked about this earlier. Like this was like in the first 10 books when they talk about speaking up at the right time, and if you have the wisdom, or if you have the right, if you know the truth, then you should speak on it. Keeping it to yourself does no one any good. My children, listen, and I will teach you the circumstances when it's proper to be ashamed. Sometimes it is entirely out of place. Before your parents, be ashamed of immoral behavior. Before a ruler or important person, be ashamed of a lie. Before a judge, be ashamed of criminal behavior. Before a public assembly, be ashamed of breaking the law. Before a friend or partner, be ashamed of dishonesty. Before your neighbors, be ashamed of theft. Be ashamed of breaking a promise, of leaning on the dinner table with your elbows, of stinginess when you are asked for something, of not returning a greeting, of staring at a prostitute, of turning down a relative's request, of depriving someone of what is rightfully theirs, of staring at another man's wife, of playing around with his slave, keep away from her bed, of insulting your friends, of following up on gifts with criticism, of following up on your gifts with criticism, of betraying secrets. Footnote, Sirach 41, verse 2, Hebrew, blind and without hope. Greek, rebellious and without patience. Sirach 9, verse 9, Hebrew, when you have stumble. Greek, you are born under a curse. Verse 10, Hebrew, nothing. Greek, earth. Hebrew, nothing. Greek, earth. 11, Hebrew, a person's nothing. Greek, the death of a person's body is mourned. Verse 16, Hebrew, my children, ashamed. Greek, show respect for what I say. Verse 19, Hebrew, of breaking a promise. Greek, of yourself before the truth of Lord. Hebrew, of breaking a promise. Greek, of yourself before the truth of God. What was that, 19? Before your neighbors, be ashamed of theft. Be ashamed of breaking a promise. Be ashamed of breaking a promise of yourself before the truth of God. Breaking promises to yourself and breaking promises to God. Shame and disappointing yourself. That's what I got out of that. The shame of disappointing yourself. Letting yourself down. Not being courageous, not believing in yourself, not having confidence in yourself. So that was Sirach, chapters 31 through chapters 41. Sirach, Good News Translation, chapters 31 through chapters 41. Tomorrow we're going to wrap up the series. This is part 4. Tomorrow's part 5. Close it out. 10 chapters per series. Per episode of the series. Ah, man. I'm just waking up. I'm tired. Up early. Was up at 8 something. I don't know. I guess I'm ready to get up. I think today I'm going to go out, stand in the sun for a little bit, do a little stretching, spend a little quiet time outside, get my mind right, breathe, and just relax, enjoy the day, and what will be, will be. You know? Enjoy the day. Oh, man. Probably try to get some music done. I got about like 60 tracks to arrange. I got a lot of work to do. A lot of work. But like I said, an artist needs time to do his work and not be concerned about other things. He gave me time this month. He gave me a whole month to get some things done. I got some things done, but I still got plenty of work to do. It's like it never stops. When you're creating, I guess, because I was creating at such a high pace and just creating and saying, okay, I got this where I want it, and I'm going to stop and start creating some more just because of the fascination of the sounds and what I was producing and how easy it was coming because of the AI and to create using these tools. So I just got it to a certain point, and then I said I'll arrange it later and make it into a song. And man, I just kept going and kept going. And one day I sat down and I counted, and it was like 60 something tracks that I need that needs my attention to turn into something and turn them into songs. They're already beautiful as they are, but that's 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 not me. I mean, I put those sounds together, but it's not enough for a song. It's only probably maybe about 30 seconds. Like that's enough in 20 seconds, 20 30 seconds. Worth of something beautiful or a song, a sound brought together, but uh, it has to turn into a whole song. You know what I'm saying? So I got work to do, and then I got to copyright them. Then I got to publish them here and publish them here, and find the right pictures for each thing. It's a lot of work when you are creative. Like when you are an artist, and I'm not just gonna say artist as in a singer artist. I'm just saying as an artist, is in the term in the text of someone that creates, that is a creator. Every little thing goes into that, like the, the sounds that I pick, the title that I pick, the cover art that goes on it, all of these things, you know what I'm saying? That's all part of that creative process. Just for one song, there's so many things that goes into it. There's so much of me, of my being, or my spirit, or my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, my joys, my pains. You know what I'm saying? And the message that inspired in me, that I relate in the title, that I relate in the cover art. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that goes with it, man. It really is. Just to do one song is it's a lot for 2 3 minutes. It's a lot. It's hours of work for just 2 minutes. So today, I'm just gonna relax my mind. When I feel inspired, I'm gonna jump in there, do something. Uh, yeah, let's play something. I did work on something. I worked on 2 tracks last night that jumped ahead of the already 60 that I already got to do. Um, because I because I just was feeling a creation, the spark to create. Because I love this tool, this AI tool, and with these beautiful sounds, and being able to match them and pull them together without the fight that I was having to do. You know what I'm saying, like a year ago, with dealing with Splice, and arranging and putting them where I placing them where I wanted. Is a whole different, completely process when you have an engine that takes the work out of putting them in the same tempo and making them fit together and gather in the same sounds with the same beats per minute, or the same tempo, or close to it, or is comparable. Uh, 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 I say comparable or complementary to, like say if I have a sound that's at 70 BPMs, and I may have another one that is at 120, but it with this tool it helps bring them into alignment to sound good, instead of me having to search for the right sound or the right tempo, and fooling around with the placement of it. It does the work for me, and all I have to do is just copy what I create, that 12 bars, 16 bars, whatever it may give me, and then I can arrange that and modify it when this comes on, when this comes on when this goes out. What is the volume on this track? What sound do I want to be dominant and played this one in the background. All of that makes it yours. And why am I just saying that on this? Because I guess both of my channels, they're connected. So, I mean, it should be interchangeable. I should be able to speak about Yahweh on my music channel, just like I should be able to speak about music on my Yahweh channel, my Let's Get Naked, my conversation channel, my channel of the word. I should be able to speak about my passion on this too, but it shouldn't be in part of the series, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But this is me. You know, this is what I do. You know what I mean? I may start one way and go off on a tangent and start on something else. I believe in finishing what I start. And like I said, I got a lot of work to do. This series has sparked something. Maybe I'll do another one, another book out of the Apocrypha. I'm thinking about it. Like I said, I was thinking about doing Tobit. I like the story. I like the book of Tobit. There's a lot in there. It's about a young man. His father sent him on a journey. His travel companion was an angel that he did not know was an angel. He was sent to his relatives to retrieve some money that his father had his relative hold on to for his dad fell into some bad times. You know, he was losing his sight. He lost his sight, and his work started to suffer, and they were beginning to fall on hard times. So he went to send his son to get the money and to come back, so they could be prosperous, and possibly have his son get married to their relative. They were a relative, his cousin, pretty much, and it was an angel along the way that he did not know. He did not know it was an angel, and along the way, the angel was instructing him to do certain things, even though he didn't understand why. And through his obedience, good things happened for him. He got the wife. He cured his wife of the demonic possessions that were tormenting her. And basically what happened, every time she got married, the demon would kill her husband before they could consummate the wedding. And the angel knew how to defeat that, and he told the husband what to do on their wedding night and all of this, and boom, the demon left him, just like he showed him, told him how to get the cure to clear up his father's blindness, but which he didn't know until he got back to his dad what to do and what it was for and what to do, and that cleared his father's blindness. You know what I'm saying? And they were blessed by the Lord. So you never know who you're entertaining. You never know who you are entertaining. So treat people well. Treat people well. You never know. That could be the person to answer your prayers. But something I was working on. No, not that, not that. I want to play a song for you guys. Good track, song. This is what I was working on last night. It's a relaxing sound. Yeah, that's what I was working on. Those 2 tracks last night. So many more to go. Oh, here you go. Actually, I can share this song. This is a good one to share. And it has some kind of relevance too, huh? I just recently put this one out. This guy named Moby World, Nigerian guy. He's an excellent to me. He's an excellent artist. To me, I think he is truly like the next big thing, a jewel that is overlooked. He makes great music. He sings from the heart. Is very creative, very talented. I love when he jumps on my tracks or sends me a track that he wants me to be on. And it's called C. Ronaldo. I don't know. I think that's a person. That's a soccer player. I don't know what he means by it.
Them tell me that, them tell me this. Say my life I would never make it. Say all my life I would be like at the feet. Them ripping it, see them ripping it. I be baller, see Ronaldo. And if we kick me, I go score up. So many people pray for them for, but they see me now, me I no go further. Me I be humble, whenever they catch I go down. Me I be King Kong. Put your location, you go see me I go drop. If you believe, you will make it. Use the formula. If you like make it underestimate me, make it take me personal. God has blessed. See me now popular. I am representing Africa. Them tell me that, them tell me this. Say my life I will never make it. Say all my life I will be like at the feet. Them ripping it, see them ripping it. I be baller, see Ronaldo. And if we kick me, I go score up. So many people pray for them for, but they see me now, me I no go further.
I had to dig deep in my soul to lift myself out of a hole. Got my spirit right now on hold, trying to stay clean till I make it home. So much pain in the world, Holy Spirit groans. Father, give new life to these dry bones. No man is praying, voice from stones. Corrupt capitalism, stocks and loans. Road to hell, abominable moans. Ungodly spirits, powers honed. End of humanity, birth fully grown. Yahweh restore peace in the world, shalom.
Them tell me that, them tell me this. Say my life I would never make it. Say all my life I would be like at the feet. Them ripping it, see them ripping it. I be baller, Ronaldo. And if we kick me, I go scholar. So many people pray for them fool, but they see me now, me I no go father.
So, you want to check that out? That's on my YouTube channel. It's under my music page, the Joe Bar Lazar Can Do, aka Wise Duality. If you just put in Wise Duality, it comes up. Well, my channel will come up. Or if you go in About on this channel and you go into About, it'll have the hyperlink to my music channel. I do have another music channel out there that's YouTube generated through DistroKid, which when I just upload music through DistroKid, it sends it to all the platforms. So I don't have any control over that one except for just adding music to it. I can't see comments. Comments are turned off as but yeah, I just want to say thank you guys, all you guys that support my channel and what I'm looking to accomplish by just sparking fire in you, passion in you, bringing your passion to the forefront, sparking the breaking free of society of what they deem to be relevant and what they deem to what they use to distract you and control you and to keep you consumed in what is worthless, when your main 90% of your attention should be on you, what's going on in you and what's happening in you, and being the best you so you can serve humanity. Right? We only overcome collectively. We don't overcome as individuals. We overcome collectively. But the spark has to start within you. The fire has to start first within you. So I'm going to leave you with the question that I will always leave you with. Where is the love? Especially between the woman and the man. And what are you willing to do to fix it? To reconnect it? To heal it? To establish it? To be love? To give love? To receive love? The bond. Humanity is being threatened right now with the mindset of men and women don't need each other. We do. Without men and women unifying, there is no future. There is no human existence. Please wake up. We do need each other. Money, greed. Richard Pryor. I was watching something on YouTube, or Instagram. It came up on my feed, and he was having an interview, and he was saying, how, racism is a tool, and how the powers that be fear him. And he was like, why? The interviewer was like, why do they fear you? He said, because they don't want me to bring about racism. How could you bring about racism? By bringing people together. When once people can come together and understand who their true enemy is and what the real problems are. And the true enemy, our true enemy and the real problem is greedy people. Greedy people. That's what our problem is. Greedy people. That's what it is. Greed. You heard me say it. And then when I heard him say it out of his mouth, wow. I knew I was on the right path and on the right track and saying the right things. Because it is the greed that is destroying humanity. It is the mindset of the ungodly, the antichrist, the spirit, the spirits of the world. If you know your Bible, if you know any scripture, you know there's light and there's darkness. That there are angels and there are demons. There are spirits that are not of God. All right? There is evil. There is an evil greater than a human being. It's a spirit. All right? So, we overcome collectively, not as individuals. And we must come together to fight the greedy. To destroy them. To pray against it. To pray against this money. The spirit behind it. Not the actual money. It's a tool. Money is a tool that is useful. Not just for individuals, but collectively for nations and people that are empowered are not using these resources, this wealth that doesn't even belong to them. Everything that is recycled from the earth. Anything that is of value, we don't really own it. Who gave these people the authority to just claim and stamp and say this is mine and not yours? And you can't have any unless you pay me or unless you do this or do this for me. Or you weren't ordained to have it. Greed. There's enough earth to feed everybody. There's enough earth to house everyone. Without these burdens that these societies place on people to live comfortably, to just exist and to know your creator and to do the work that keeps a society functioning properly. Use your powers for good. And the earlier that you discover your gifts and your purpose, the better off you will be. Because you'll be happy. You'll be happy. And you'll have something that most people don't have. Most people, all they have is get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. That's all they got. But if you have a purpose, you have a gift that you are honing, that you are nurturing, that you are putting on display, that you are constantly involved in, you have peace. You have joy. And most people spend hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to try to find happiness and never find it. Because they never took the time to look within themselves. Most of them don't even believe there is a God. That's why they're unhappy. Most unhappy people are unhappy because they don't believe there is a God. And the rest of them are mad at God for the things that they do. Why would a God? Why does man? Change that from why does God to why does man? The things that God created. You think he created buildings? He didn't create cars. He didn't create these pollutions that are destroying us. He didn't create cutting down the trees for paper, for this and that and that and that. Mass eradication of nature, pollution in water, plastic. God didn't create that. God didn't create rockets where countries are spending billions and billions and trillions of dollars in out of each country to explore space. Why? Why? And there's people suffering right here. And people are glamorizing and glorifying these people that have all this destruction, tools of destruction. And we think they're great. They think they're great. So this is the type of fire I'm talking about. You should. I know you got it in you. I know you do. Everybody does. Different fire. Whatever your fire is, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's the problem that you're supposed to be solving. Whatever causes that fire in you, whatever causes that passion, whatever makes you angry, whatever is hurting your feelings. Change it. And I ain't talking about this menial stuff. I'm talking about things that have impact for everybody. Not just you. So, where's the love? And what are you willing to do to establish it, to make it right, to bring it back? Bring the 60 back, huh? What are you willing to do? Peace, my brothers and my sisters, family, friends, haters, enemies. Until next time, peace, 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 peace.